Hi guys, it's Bernie again, and I want to talk to you about a topic that's sometimes used in the rooms, and it'd be nice to know what it means. Now, I don't speak for the fellowship as a whole or anybody else, so what I tell you is my knowledge. You may see it a different way, and that's okay. It's not about that. It's about just sharing information, really. And the topic I'd like to talk about is on the back of our sober chips. It says, "To thine own self be true," and you kind of wonder, well, what does that mean, and where does it originate from? And if some of you bright sparks are not like me, heard of William Shakespeare, he once wrote a play, Hamlet, um, and in that particular play, um, I think it was Polonus, if I remember. Yeah, Polonus said to his son, "To thine own self be true," And I kind of think, well, where does that come in the fellowship? And you know, uh, it's important that we're honest, and honesty is. And I mean, if we're honest with ourselves, then we're really honest with other people. It's as simple as that. And we kind of get truthful, and sometimes often wonder, well, what does it mean? And I often say that if you were new or somebody popped into a fellowship meeting like ours and said, well, which way is truth? And of course, everybody would point at the steps and say, well, you climb these steps and you will know the truth. Because sometimes, really, we don't know the truth when we come into the fellowship and go through the process of the steps, especially step 4, because we suffer from a disease of perception, and our perception is so much different when we're in a state of drinking, that we kind of see things the way we want to see, and we're not aware of sometimes our dishonesty or our truth, because it kind of gets moved one side by the power of this illness. So where do we find this? Well, sometimes we find "to thine own self be true" in perhaps step 4, for instance. And we can be truthful by saying, yeah, I'm powerless over this disease and my life is unmanageable and I need help. So sometimes in step 4, when we go through the list, we write a list of our grosser handicaps and the things we thought people had done to us and what we've done to them. And it's important to have a sponsor that can see in 3 dimension, because over the years, and sometimes when we sit down to pen and paper, we try to fill in the blank spots in our life that are missing those parts. But the trouble is, we fill them in for the way we want to fill them in, because we can't see our wrong in anything. And sometimes it has to be pointed out by perhaps a sponsor or another person. Well, what part did you play in it? Maybe your mum wasn't a bad person. Maybe she had her own defects and had her own shortcomings. And you start to understand that it does no longer become the blame game. And it kind of somebody gets you to have a look at it from a different angle. And then as time goes on, we can erase the past and put the truth in it, and we're allowed to do that. We can erase things on our list and in our memories, and again, because it's a disease of perception, we can now honestly say to ourselves, well, I'm being honest, it was my fault and I played such a big part in this. And as Bill writes, our problems, we think, are of our own making. They arise out of our selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear. So a lot of those things become truthful. And we're true today now to the best we can, especially in step 10. If we're wrong, we promptly admit it as quick as we can. We don't wait like the outside world does, and they don't even want to admit they're wrong. It kind of grows on you, truth and honesty, And it's such a better way of living, and it just keeps us peaceful, we're not disturbed anymore, and we don't have to, because we have a system that says, or a set of principles or tools that says, well, come on, let's get honest and let's just admit our faults and let's have a peaceful day. Sobriety is important, and the best way to keep sobriety is to be honest and do what it says on the back of the tin, really, and it's as easy as that, really. So, to thine own self be true. Get honest with yourself, talk it out with another if you like, make amends to people you harmed, and certainly pray to a God of your own choice. And it's such an easy life just to be honest and be truthful, because there's no comebacks, and if we are wrong, so what? Who said we're perfect? Who said life isn't easy? So, to thine own self be true. Have a nice day, guys. Bye.